This is a Mining Interactive video production.
Good afternoon. Dateline, May 5, 2011, Vancouver. I'm here today with Michael Hudson, the President and CEO from Mawson Resources. I've been getting all kinds of phone calls and having people ask me what exactly is happening at Rumpus. And here's an opportunity for me to ask Michael Hudson the questions that most people are asking me. Michael, welcome.
Thanks, Nick.
Okay. So where are things at today, Mike? Can you give us just a general update on Rumpus? Or a general update?
Sure, Nick. Just going back in history, I suppose it was about just over 1 year ago that we did the deal with Areva to purchase all their Finnish assets in Finland, of course, and we came up with the announcement of Rumpus maybe a few months later after we were able to compile all that data. We completed our first year of exploration on the project. We had many people. We had about 15 people exploring the surface, and really that was the first exploration bar 1 month's work and 20 samples that Areva had assayed on the project. So we demonstrated we had a real discovery on our hands, something that was quite unique in the marketplace in terms of scale. It's over 6 kilometres at a minimum. We've just come out with a press release that states that it's over a 30-kilometre trend that we've defined gold and uranium along to date. So we've got a new camp on our hands, and the grades and the frequency of discovery was incredible, really. I mean, we averaged hundreds of grams over 50 centimetres in multiple structures, and with over 0.5% uranium also. So this is an extremely interesting project, and that's a recognition it's got. You know, the marketplace has given us that.
Michael, a lot of people, really don't believe this because the grades are so phenomenal.
Yeah, and the project does suffer from that. In the first 3 or 4 months before we'd done the work, we certainly knew what we had, but we had to demonstrate to the market in a very rigorous way what's there. Nevertheless, we've only got two-dimensional data at the moment. We haven't been able to drill the project, and we still really don't know, of course, what it looks like in the third dimension. There's very few projects that give such great results at surface, especially given that we've got very little outcrop in the area. We might have 5 to 10% maximum outcrop. So we're finding all these discoveries over this 6-kilometre trend where there's very little amount of rock that makes it to the surface to find these things. So what happens under the soil cover is another question that needs to be answered.
So that
really segues.
That other 90% is what you're now want to get some inkling as to what's happening under that other 90% of the till.
Well, for sure, and even when we've got 10% outcrop, it's not solid everywhere. We're just getting little windows. So even when we get a discovery, we don't exactly know what happens around it. And I suppose that really is what you're saying. It goes undercover. So what we wanted to do during winter was drill a very rigorous grid program underneath the soil cover that covers a majority of the project, along strike from some of the discoveries that we made at surface. So that's when we went into winter and tried to get permitting for a drill program. We got the permit at the end. It took quite a while to get it through the system. We're doing things that are a little different in terms of technology, and we had to explain that to the authorities. And as a consequence, we got the rig on site for only about a month, and we collected some fantastic information. We collected one total line across the sequence at 20-metre spacing.
Now, Michael,
and the sequence is...
Michael, this is small core drilling, right? This is not doesn't disturb anything. You were drilling right from on top of the snow, so you were not disturbing the ground at all.
Exactly. So thank you for pointing out the exact drill rig type, Nick. It was a small footprint drill rig. That was what the permit allowed for. So it didn't have a lot of grunt. It was a diamond rig, and we're only permitted to drill through the the topsoil, if you like, the glacial till, the technical term, which was from 2 to 6 meters thick, and then just collect a little bit of bedrock information. That means a meter or two. So in the process of exploration, and what is normal in exploration is to build up layers of information as you go forward. So we've gone and found initial discoveries there. We've rigorously sampled where we can, or looked for these discoveries at surface and mapped the rocks and understood which way they trend and which way they dip. The style of mineralization we're still coming to terms with. And then and then we flew airborne geophysics at a big scale to try and define these trends. But still, you can't help but the ultimate truth machine, if you like, as you always say, is drilling. Now, the drilling that we did was to advance our exploration understanding. With only 1 meter holes at 20 meter spacing or beyond, we were only collecting geological information. Trying to hit these high-grade structures with only 1 meter holes into basement was never the aim, and that's what some of the expectations I think that you were suggesting people may have had. I've certainly been telling this story from day one, and it's just really understanding the exploration process. It's like RAB drilling that would be done in lateritic terrains, but because we've got the glacial soil, we have to use diamond drilling to get through that soil because it contains big boulders at times. So we can't just use a simple drill method to access the basement.
I also misunderstood it somewhat, and being a layman, you know, and not a geologist, I didn't recognize how important this drilling was to basically find out what type of rock was lying underneath this till. And as well, you're mentioning that you are drilling 1 meter into the bedrock, but that means if there was, let's say, two meters of till, then you were able to go 3 meters down, kind of a thing, right?
That's right, exactly. So it was giving us much more than just, well, it gave us the rock and the alteration and whether the sequence continued. So we know that the rocks were the same. That was a good discovery. We haven't got assays back yet, so we don't know what we're going to get, but I'm just proceeding that this was not a discovery tool. To find this system will require 15 to 20 kilometres of drilling into bedrock in the first year. It's a huge, big system. We don't know exactly where to target. We've got to put big raking drill holes right across the sequence and numbers of them at different depths if we think about a slice of bread. And that's how discoveries are made. They're not made with 1 meter holes into bedrock, I suppose, but nevertheless it was an exploration technique that was in the normal course of exploration. We're collecting more information, and it's given us great information. The geologists have been very, very happy about what we've been able to achieve.
So subject to getting the permitting for drilling, all this information that you are right now obtaining and so on is leading to drilling, and let's say not any sooner than probably when?
So we're going to be back there in the next few weeks. There was an early breakup of the snow this year after a very cold winter, so it's been, well, strange conditions, especially for an Australian, of course, working in the Arctic. It's always a little strange. But the winter breakup was quicker than expected, maybe 3 weeks earlier. So the drilling had to finish. We could only drill on snow cover. But that means we can get there and get on the ground earlier. And really, that's where the majority of the information is going to come. We've got something like 15 people ready to go, a $750,000 program over the next 5 months to collect the information. Remember, the 6 kilometres is a huge. You think about sitting where you are in Vancouver; it's halfway back to the airport, right? So you're a third of the way. It's a huge area, right? So it's there's so much work. It's such early days into this system, understanding it, covering it. We'll find, I'm sure, a lot more mineralization. We've got 2 teams drill cutting rocks. We've got many teams sampling on the regional soils. We've got people mapping it and understanding it. So we'll come out of this season with a much, much stronger understanding. Nevertheless, everyone wants us to drill it, no doubt, and we'd like to drill it, but we're going through the natural course of permitting in Finland, which is no doubt slow. It can take between 2 to 3 years to have a permit, a claim application turn into a claim. Mm-hmm. And is where we're in the process of. The claim at Rompus was submitted to the government in October '09, so we're something like 18 months down the path. Now, 2 to 3 years is a guideline based on knowing what has happened previously. The government is giving us no specific guideline, but we're well and truly into the process, I think is a fair comment. And if I give you an exact time frame, I'll create an expectation that perhaps can't be met.
No, it was unfair for me to ask that, because like you're saying, this is like I said, subject to approvals by the authorities. There's no doubt about it. That is basically out of your hands. All you can do is work at it, and try to speed it up. That's all you can do. Let me ask you something else. You have just announced that you have now another 24 kilometers of strike length, right on both sides, I think it is, of Rompus. And are you going to be doing some initial looking at that?
Sure. We've actually got a granted claim along that strike length that Mawson fortuitously had submitted into the authorities something like 3 or 4 years ago. We were looking in that area within that 30-kilometre trend, and it's a project called Mustama, which was in the last press release. It's a uranium phosphatic historic area that has thick, 30 to 50 metre thick, low to medium grade uranium. But that's really not our target. The interest is that we found some boulders with gold in them that don't source from that same phosphatic uranium horizon. Yeah. And this was unknown until just very recently. So there's indications of gold and uranium in the same trend. It's a right along strike. I mean, albeit a long way away, but the system is large. And coming right up through to another project called Rumavwama, which was the initial discovery in the Rompus area that Areva made. And that's only had something like dozens of samples, maybe no more than a dozen and a bit samples taken, and the assays there average much lower grades than we see at Rompus, but there's still gold and uranium. We're averaging something like 0.5 to 1 gram gold and hundreds of ppm uranium over 3 kilometres. So not over that whole 3 kilometres, but there's a dozen samples within that 3 kilometres that have those samples. So that's maybe halfway between Mustama and Rompus. So it's very, very exciting what is emerging in this whole field. And importantly, we've secured 100% of it. So we've just gone from a claim reservation, which allows you to secure the ground for 1 year in Finland, and then you must go to a claim application, which I've explained the process from claim application to claims before. So we've got claim applications over something like 75,000 hectares now, and that will go through a long process, no doubt. But we're entitled to do this low-level exploration, which is what you do in the first year or two in any project. So it's quite an amenable system, really. It's just that we want to drill Rompus. When you've got an elephant by the tail. Yeah. The system doesn't work. Yeah,
it's exciting. It's really exciting. So getting away from Rompus, I guess that's it as far as Finland is concerned, and perhaps we should start talking.
Just for 15 seconds, we've got other work programs at other projects through Finland. This year we collected, of course, a number of projects from Areva. Rompus was the flagship, and that whole trend. But we'll be doing geophysics at Riuta. We've got some in southeastern Finland. We've got some drill intersections that will be coming to the market very soon from that project, from drill holes that Areva drilled. But they didn't assay the core because it was going through the sale process with us. We've been able to access that core finally and sample it. And those assays will be coming to the market very shortly. We'll be doing a geophysical program as a follow-up in the next few months there, as well as looking at the project with 10,000 boulders, Ascento, which is something like 30 kilometres east of Rompus, and there's 10,000 uranium boulders over a big trend there. That is a brand new discovery and has had very little work that Areva made. So they did some fantastic work, and we've been very fortunate. That's longer than 15 seconds, but there's more work in Finland we'll be doing.
You know, Michael, it's all very exciting. There's no doubt about it. And the thing is that you've got your hands full, and I can understand why it's very hard for you to. You do a lot of traveling. You got to get to the project. You got people arriving at the project, and then you've also got to spend some time at home as well, and then being in Vancouver. You definitely got your hands full, and it's all very exciting, and that's why all the adrenaline keeps on working, and that's why we can do this kind of a job because of the adrenaline, that keeps on flowing here. Now, tell us a little bit about Peru, because you have been working in Peru, and is there any chance of drilling there? And I know the process there is also, very slow as far as getting drill permits are concerned. Tell us a little bit about Peru.
Peru had a major milestone only a few weeks ago. We put a press release out to say that we'd finally finalised the terms with the underlying vendor and registered those agreements. Now, without going into all the legalese, it's been a very frustrating and slow process to get to this point, but to the credit of all parties involved, we achieved it. So now we have Mawson's name against the title, or a subsidiary of Mawson is name against the title in Peru. So now we're entitled to go and seek drill permits.
Excellent.
Before 2 weeks ago, we had legal right to the property, but we couldn't seek the permits because we hadn't completed that legal process, if you like. So now we have just started talking with the landholder. There's only one landholder. This is a key point in Peru. Certainly, the communities in Peru have been slowed down a number of competitors' programs because it's really a new paradigm in Peru where there was a disenfranchised local people for so long, and now they've been given the right to their say, which is very good, and we'd support that. But of course, in any process of change, the balance of power shifts between both groups a little abnormally until it settles out and people decide that, okay, we've got to get on work. And it's at that stage in Peru where the new paradigm is still settling in. So there's delays with communities and companies discussing how access and properties should be advanced. Luckily for us in Alto Quemado, we're dealing with the government, which is Alto Dema. That's the upside. It's one group. We're talking with a government body. It's a local regional water authority. The other side of the coin somewhat is that Alto Dema have made some indications they don't want mining in their huge area. Now that is a regional provincial decision, but it's against the national right that has been granted to mining companies in that area. So there's a bit of argy-bargy going on. That being said, there's a number of companies drilling. We're just immediately beside, 15 kilometres away, in the same area as AQM Resources at Zafranal, and they've been drilling a lot. So we've got strong belief that we'll be there drilling if we negotiate correctly with the authorities, and the one group we only need to negotiate with, and we've just started that process. So I can give some guidance, and I hope that we'll be drilling towards the end of this year at the earliest would be my expectation. But we're ready to go. We've done all the work on the property, and we've done some great work. It looks very interesting. The porphyry target is very real and could be quite large, but only once again the drill rig will tell us that story.
Say, Michael, I know I'm a layman and and I'm not a geologist, but what kind of a term is argy-bargy in geological terms?
That's Australian perhaps slang for negotiation.
Okay, I just wanted to know, if I missed something here. Anyway, let's go back to Sweden again, up to Scandinavia and to Sweden. And what's happening with your uranium projects there? Are you drilling? Are you doing anything there at the moment?
It's fair to say that Sweden has slowed down for us with their focus and all the team across in Finland. We hope to be, and we're just going through the process of determining whether we can get access. We've got permits, we've got a granted claim, but just in terms of logistics, to get to and to drill the northern extensions of Klappybecken towards the end of winter, towards the end of summer, I should say, around August. So we've got a target kilometre long, a long strike from Clappy Becken that we defined from this shallow drilling that we did at Rompus, the same style. We did it Hutagan 18 months ago or something like that, and we defined a target that needs follow-up with deep drilling. And it looks quite a strong target and would make Clappy Becken the scale of some interest. It's a 3 million pound resource, if you like, at the moment, which is not enough. It needs to be maybe 4 times as big. It's only over a few hundred metres strike length at the moment. So it gives it some potential scale, and the grades and the width are there from surface. So we need to get back there. It will be at next week latest and this summer at the earliest.
All right. Now, Michael, this has been a few minutes now, and I'd like to, before I finish off here, I'd like to have an update from you, perhaps on the corporate side. You know, what's the cash at the moment? People ask me, what kind of cash have you got, and how many shares have you got outstanding?
Sure, we've got something just over 50 million shares. It's just changed a little bit, something like 51 million shares at the moment. We bought in. It's changed a little bit because people have been cashing in some warrants.
Excellent.
And we've also been selling some of our third-party shares in other companies that we've owned through various property transactions. So we bought in about $1 million in the last month into Mawson.
Good.
From those two sources. So we have somewhere between $12 and $13 million, closer to $13 million today. And we're fairly well funded to do the work that we need. We'll be spending $2 to $2.5 million for the rest of this calendar year, and we're always considering new options in which to take the company. Also, we've got a number of new zones of interest that we're looking at in Peru, and we'll be bringing those to the market soon when we get a little bit more information and we understand really what we've got. And we're always looking for new projects elsewhere too. We know we're busy. We know we've got a great project and a flagship in Rompus. The flagship is without a doubt Rompus. Yeah. But we're explorationists, and we can't help ourselves. We love filling that risk pyramid from the very bottom of the highest risk and de-risking things going forward.
Well, you know, these projects or exploration is always high risk and hopefully high reward, and you've taken a lot of the risk out of it already. I always tell people that a lot of the risk has come out of it already because of the management style that you have and the management team that you have. So right there, a lot of the risk is already coming down. But you know, as you're moving on, that risk will become less and less, and it's looking all very, very exciting. I'm actually getting more and more calls, also not from individuals, but also from funds and so on, and from brokers that want to get a hold of you and so on, and want to talk to you. And I understand that now the brokerage community is starting to slowly wake up to Mawson. So that bodes very well, and at once, you know, that may be very beneficial to your share price. There's no doubt in my mind. And you already got some strong backing from brokers and so on now. So I'm looking forward to a great fall here. You know, when I expect that the market will also aid and abet you. So Michael, anything else you would like to add?
No, I think we've covered quite a lot there, Nick. But I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for being here, and I thank you on behalf of the shareholders, because we needed this update right now and this frank discussion. We should do it more often. Thanks again, Mike. This is Nicolaas. Thanks, Mike. This is Nicolaas on behalf of Mining Interactive. And as always, stay tuned. Bye for now.